Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here in Kroger Parking Lot. I just went in to get 3 things and to get gas here, use my points. And let me tell you what a morning it was. Well, it sounds like I'm griping, but I'm really not. It was about 35 minutes of my life I'll never get back again, spent on the phone. And I'm not a phone person. What happened was I called CVS yesterday because I was going to be needing test strips, for my diabetes. So I called, had to leave a message, and I did all that. And CVS usually sends a text when the prescription is ready, and they didn't. And so I called this morning, and the automated thing, after I gave my name and date of birth, told me I had one prescription ready, and it was my test strips. So I went over to CVS, which is probably less than 5 minutes away, 5 minutes with traffic. And the lady went and got them. And then she told me, wait a minute, these are not covered anymore under your insurance, my Medicare. Now, if you remember, I mentioned some time ago of how I was dealing with insurance companies because I got a phone call from one that that it's networked with CVS, called Aetna. And boy, that day, that man called me. He was very nice, but gave me the whole spiel about the network and all the benefits, and I fell for it. And we had to go through all of my doctors to make sure they were in the network. There was one that wasn't showing up, and so the man was nice enough to call out to that place, and so that took a day. And then the next day he called, we went over all of the medications, including my glucometer and the lancets and the test strips, to make sure everything would be covered, and I was told it was. And this is about the third incident that I've had with Aetna since I've got on it, which is maybe a month and a half, coming up to 2 months I've been with the Aetna. And anyway, so the lady says it's not covered with your Medicare no more, and she knows me, so she was surprised. So I said, well, I have, the Aetna that's networked with you, CVS. And she looked up on the computer. She said, yeah, you're in there. She said, do you have your Aetna card with you? Even though they had my ID number and everything, pulled up. I gave her my Aetna card, and she verified everything. And she said, this is strange. She said, I'm trying to bill it to Medicare. Medicare says bill it to Aetna. I bill it to Aetna. Aetna says bill it to Medicare. And she didn't know what to do. Of course, I don't know what to do. And so I asked her, what should I do? She said, well, call your insurance company. I said, well, which one? Medicare, Medicaid, Aetna? I'm not a phone person. And when you're calling these places, you're going to spend part of your life on the phone. She said, well, why don't you start with Aetna? So I called Aetna. First, I called the man who called me about Aetna. I have his name memorized and his number's in my phone because he's my agent, I guess. I called him and had to leave a message, and then I thought, I need those test strips. I need this to be resolved. So I called customer service, Aetna. I got a very nice lady who looked through everything, and come to find out, it doesn't cover the meter, the lancets, and the test strips that I've been using for I don't know how many years now. At least 3, if not more. I have to get all of that, the meter, from a different company that Aetna works with, which was not explained to me when I first went over all of my doctors and all of the medication. And then they need a prescription from the endocrinologist or my primary doctor for the lancets and test strips that will fit the new meter. So I explained to the lady that it would have been convenient to have all that information when the agent had called me, because I probably would have gotten all these calls made last week or the beginning of this week, so that there's time for the meter to be mailed to. It's not coming to me now, the meter, for 3 to 5 days, so I can't check my blood sugar, for that many days. And I told her that. She was very patient. I was patient. She was kind. I was kind. And I said, I dread having to call a doctor's office over all this. She said, well, I'll do that for you. So she three-wayed the call to the doctor's office and talked to I'm in Baylor network for my doctors. And you don't talk to the doctor's nurse. You don't talk to, I guess it would be like a secretary. You call and you got to talk to a call center who has to take all your information and why you're calling, and then they send that over to the doctor's nurse, and you hope and pray that the message gets to your doctor. There's been several times that it has not, when I've had to call for neurology, and also my primary doctor, where the message never reached the doctor. One time for neurology, it was very serious. I mean, an ambulance almost was called, and maybe should have been called, but I didn't want that. And when I think about it, it gets me a little upset, because the message never got to the doctor, to the neurologist. His nurse returned my call and tried to play doctor. And when I got better, when I got over the incident of why I even had to call the doctor, I let the neurologist know in an email of how the nurse treated me, how she tried to play doctor, and it just wasn't good. And now that neurologist I've had since I've been here in Texas, he used to have a wonderful nurse who retired. And anyway, he assured me that he would take care of the problem, and he did. What made me so upset about that whole ordeal was, I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes. And so my mind started going, and I thought, what if this was an elderly person that had no family, that needed to talk to the doctor? It was really bad what caused me to call. And what if this was an elderly person or someone, a disabled young person, more disabled than me, that doesn't know how to advocate for themselves or whatever this is. What if it was someone worse off than me, in other words, that had no help to get this resolved? What would have happened? That's what made me upset. I'm so used to being my own advocate. It's been that way all my life for different family reasons. And then when I got involved with the medical field, had to use a lot of wisdom. And the Bible says to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. So when I was in the medical field, I would advocate for some elderly people, but had to be very careful. I did what I could do. Let's just say that. And I've been involved in human services as far as advocating for people that needed help with assistance with food and rent assistance and clothing. Back home, for a long time, I mentioned this one time, I volunteered for an organization that had a food pantry, a clothes closet, and they helped people with rent and bills if the funds were there for that. And the lady who ran that local office had gone to high school with my mother and father and knew my family. And anyway, offered me a position there for volunteering. They didn't have the funding to pay me, but she felt like I'm such a people person, and because I can speak Spanish, the area that was in was very Hispanic populated, and they were having a lot of Spanish people coming in needing help. And the lady who ran it didn't speak Spanish. Her two workers, one was on payroll, but the other one volunteered. They didn't speak Spanish. So she asked me if I would consider going in to volunteer and do intakes and present cases and all that. And I did that. She wrote me a wonderful, referral. I think I helped her with that for over a year. Anyway, what I'm saying is that's just something that God's put in me. And so when that happened with my neurologist nurse, it made me think about other people that wouldn't have been able to advocate for themselves or have anyone to help them, And so anyway, let's see, let me get my thoughts again. The lady today with Aetna, she called the third-party company that I'll be getting my meter from. She three-wayed the phone call, but I could hardly understand that other lady. It sounded like she was in a tunnel. But the end result is they're sending the meter 3 to 5 days. And then the Aetna lady called my doctor's office, the endocrinologist, and she three-wayed the call in case they needed me to confirm something, even though she had all my information. And they have she said that she's going to send the order over to CVS. I don't know, because this is just the call center lady. Unless they have authority to do that, which I never experienced this before. They always take down the message, like I said, give it to the doctor's nurse and then to the doctor, and the doctor has to authorize a prescription. So I don't know. I just know that she said she's sending the order over to CVS for the Lancets and the test strips. So God being my helper, my blood sugar will be what it's going to be. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what it's going to be for 3 to 5 days, but God knows. Hey, God already knows what my blood sugar is going to be before those test strips and everything come in, that I can check it out. So I was coming out of Kroger. There's a whole bunch of birds. They're not the little crows. I don't know if they're mockingbirds or what they are, up in these little trees that are in the parking lot. Well, I saw one, and it was on the handle to a carriage. I don't know. I looked at it. It looked at me, and I was reminded where Jesus talked about how the birds, they don't even worry about where their food's going to come from. They're up in those trees singing and looking at me, and they're just enjoying their day. They're not even worried about where their food's going to come from or anything. And Jesus told us to consider that. If the Lord cares so much for those little birdies and he provides for them, he said it himself, how much more does he care for us, and will he provide for us? I mean, that's awesome when you think about it. Let me show you. In Kroger, I got this bag. It's a pound. And it's mustard greens, triple washed and ready to enjoy. Well, they're tripled washed. I wash them 2 more times, so they're more than quadrupled washed when I get done with them. And product of USA, great for cooking, recipe on back, non-GMO, and they were reduced to $1.22. Now, I got this bag to give out handfuls to my chicken and to my gosling because they love it. The grass is just coming up in my yard, for them to be picking at. And so this is a great treat, and it's good for them. And course, I have bought this before for me and have cooked it, and I've also mostly put it in salads when I've gotten it for me. But this bag is a treat for the flock. I won't give it all out in one day, but this is a great way. Anyone that raises chickens or is thinking about it, if you raise them, you'll probably already know, but if you're thinking about getting into chickens, some people think that it's very expensive to raise them. If it was, I wouldn't be able to do it. But if you go to your grocery store and you get things in the produce that are marked down, you know, this is not going to last all week. And plus, I could put some in a Ziploc baggie and freeze it. That'd be fine too. But if you get things that are marked down, that are reduced, it's great to throw out to the chickens, you know, for treats, besides their regular food. So I got that, and I got me yesterday I thought I had half a head of cabbage in the refrigerator, and I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. So I got me a nice big cabbage. I make all kinds of meals with cabbage. Whoops. Hold on. Whoa. Okay. And I got this for me. I'll get a couple meals out of this. This is a rotisserie chicken. I was trying to see ready to eat. Raised cage free. It's a roasted rotisserie chicken. Vegetarian fed diet, no preservatives, no antibiotics or added hormones ever. And I don't know. Oh, it was $10.99 regular, but he was just marking them down, which I'm surprised. Can you see that? $4.40, marking them down in the morning. But there's so much I can do with this. I'm just one person. I can take the skin off and debone the whole chicken and do things with the, chicken as I break it up. I can boil this whole thing. That would make a wonderful broth. And I could make soup. I could, the possibilities are endless when you think of it. This is much cheaper for me, much affordable for me, than to buy a whole uncooked chicken. Those are very expensive. And so I'm looking forward to I'll get 2 or 3 different meals out of this, maybe 2. It's a small chicken. But yeah, there's no telling what I'll do. I'm not too proud to buy something reduced, especially if I'm going to use it right up like this. Now those greens, maybe in a few days they'll all be gone because I'll be throwing them out to the chickens. So that's all I went in there for. And what else? Oh, this morning I worked in my added on room again. 18 minutes. And I had a whole stack of crochet pattern books that I had gone through. I went through them last year. And Miss Kitty keeps knocking over my pile. So it's time for me to just get down to business in that room. And so I've mentioned before, I have a friend in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Her name is Michelle. Her website, if you'd like to check it out, is Treasured Heirlooms Crochet. She's a designer. She's had patterns published with Annie's Attic and some other companies. Baby blankets. And I'm not sure about baby sweaters, but baby blankets. And also doll dresses. So she also collects crochet, knit, cross-stitch, quilting, all kinds of craft books. I think she has a sister that when her sister goes to estate sales and there's books, she'll buy them and then give them to Michelle. Me, when I get books from wherever that I don't want, I usually wait till I have enough to send her in a flat rate box. And what her and I do is we'll barter. I'll send her a box full of books, and if there's a particular book that I'm looking for, I will email her and ask her, hey, do you have this book? And she'll look through her inventory, and if she does, she'll send it to me. So she has a huge inventory of books. Again, her website is Treasured Heirlooms Crochet if you want to go on there and look. If you buy something, you may even want to, mention that I sent you over there. I don't know if it will help or not, but it's just a kind thing to do to let her know that I'm spreading her business, I guess. But now we've been friends. Whew. I think her and I tried to figure it out one time. I've been in Texas 12 years. I don't know, maybe 18 years. We've never met. Her husband's name is Pat, and he's a wonderful photographer. They have Dalmatians, and he takes the best pictures of those spotted dogs. And wow, time goes by. I guess I'll save that for later, how her and I got in touch. It's a wonderful story. And so, I had a handful of books that I had gone through last year that I had set aside, for her. I had asked her at the time, are you interested in these particular ones? And do people inquire if you have these? And she said, oh, yes. And so I was getting all that together in a box today. And I have a lot more decluttering and organizing and cleaning to do. I'm having a problem with fire ants in my trailer. And I don't eat in my bedroom. And I've been finding them in my bedroom. Oh, so I'm dealing with that. But hey, it's a wonderful day. It's another day that God has given me and given you to praise his wonderful name. Lift up his name. There's an old song. I'm going to lift up the name of Jesus. And that's what I strive to do every day and all throughout the day. I want to lift up that wonderful name. And so I hope you all have a good day. And I'm sure I'll probably be doing some kind of video of something later on today. I did one this morning of my little silky hens, so go check that out. And 23 minutes. I wish there was a way to make these videos longer. But, alright, I gotta go get this stuff home. I'll talk to everyone later.